And the idea behind School of Life is to create a process, a system, a structure, a facility that it will be the country that I wish to live in. And so it's like we have this calling to like we're trying to call to the people that want to live differently. Maybe they don't know how to do this, but maybe there is an inner knowing that it's possible. And this is who I'm interested to work with. Honestly, I believe there is enough of them. I don't need to look for them. Like what I mean is like if someone is not interested, it's okay. I don't need to convince him. But there is enough people that want to live differently. And if there is an inner calling inside of you that there is a possibility for you to live life differently, so this is what we're looking for. This is the organization that we're creating. The idea of School of Life is basically is a project that is like an academy. People can come and study, but it's a different type of academy. So to explain where it's coming from, I actually tell you a story that goes back almost now 15 years ago. And my background is technology. And I was deep inside technology. Like I'm 48. I sit first time at the computer when I was 6 years old. So I'm one of these old people in the technology industry. And one of the things that I realized almost 15 years ago, that we humans are becoming a little bit irrelevant for this planet as people who are creating and doing things. So when I grew up, it was kind of obvious that you need to learn skills in order to work, in order to provide your house, and you need to be useful for society. Because otherwise, you're not going to get paid, and then you're not going to have anything to eat. And already 15 years ago, it was starting to be very clear that machines and technology will replace all the things that we do. So now we're speaking about this now in 2025. It's like everybody knows AI and robotics and all of these things. So it's kind of obvious. So 15 years ago, I already started to understand that we're becoming irrelevant. Times has passed, and many things happened to me in my life since then. But about 5 years ago, this thing came to me in a different way. And at that point, it came to me from a perspective is like, what are we going to do if we are not needed to write computer programs or to work in the field or to cook food or to be a psychologist? Because we see now AI is doing all of those things. So 5 years ago, it came back to me again. And then the realization was that basically we're going to have a very big challenge as human beings. We're actually facing a spiritual, mental, emotional crisis that I would say that maybe anyone that is maybe between the age of about 10 today to the age of, let's say, 55 is facing a huge crisis. Because we're facing an idea that I was trained and groomed or raised to be someone who's working, but nobody needs my work anymore. And so what am I going to do with my life? It's like, it seems like, and everybody goes with this challenge to the problem of how can I provide food to myself? So I'm not going to talk about this problem. This is a different challenge. What I'm more focused about is a different question. Let's say I have food on my table, which, let's face it, we already, now, these days, we're having people who have food on their table, they have enough money, but they have nothing to do. So the questions of what am I doing here on this planet is becoming like the new, most critical questions. And I agree that in our mind, immediately it goes also to how can I make money? But let's try for just this focus on what am I doing with my life. And so this is where School of Life is starting. This is the kind of the spark that invoked the question about School of Life. The next thing is basically, it's a question of what do I like to do? As we mostly focus on society, what do I need to do? Which is like bringing food for my family and all these survival questions and all these things. But now that we have robots and computers that do all the things for us, and let's say the money is not the question, it's like there is a new question rising up. What do I like to do? How do I want to spend my time? How do I not get crazy from not doing anything. And the question that I face a lot of people that I meet, people come to me with troubles and challenges, they ask me what to do, is I ask people, what is your hobbies? And most people, if you just stop now for a moment and you ask yourself, like, what is my hobbies? And then you can ask the question, what is a hobby? And you're starting to realize that most of us actually does not have an answer for this question. Like, I don't know what to do in my free time. I don't know what to do when it's not important and not urgent. Everything is important or urgent in our life. But what is in your life that is not important and not urgent? There is a funny practice in coaching. They do this for people, and they make you make a list of all the things that you're interested in, that you have to do, that in your responsibility, basically all the things in your life. So that's the first task. And the second thing they tell you, you draw up a table that have 4 boxes. The box number 1 is this line is important, this line is not important, and this line is urgent, and this line is not urgent. So box number 1 is important and urgent. Box number 2 is not important but urgent. Box number 3 is urgent and not important, and so on. And there is box number 4, which is not important and not urgent. And when you start to look at this, you will see that what's in box number 4 is your soul. The things that you really like to do, the things that you really enjoy doing, the things that makes you laugh, the things that makes you be in love with life, and so on. And you will find that all of those things are in box number 4. Not important and not urgent. And as we're going and growing with society, with time and technology, we will be left only with this box. And we will discover that we don't know how to do those things. We actually cannot accept that we need to do those things. So there is a transformation that will happen in society. And the question is where I'm going to be there, you're going to be there, the next person. There is 8 billion people living on this planet. Will we be able to go through the shift from being a working machine to being a human being? Essentially, if you take someone that is, let's say, 35 years old, and you tell him, you don't need to work. Nobody needs you to work. And you know what? I'll give you food. So don't worry. Like, what do? And you'll see that most people will stay with eyes open and then I will tell you, even not just that, they will have a sense of fear or anxiety inside of them. Because you're actually facing a very harsh truth. That you're just an ant working in a factory. And it's not now that I'm trying to rebel against the system or any of those things. Just a basic truth. We are not that important anymore. They don't need the ants anymore. There is a machine that will do it. So from that perspective, that's where I came to School of Life. And what I realized is that we need to start to create training for people to be with each other, like just human relations, basic human relations, communication, things like nonviolence communication, group dynamics, and just talking with each other. The second thing is like, what do I like to do in my free time? Maybe you like pottery, maybe I do dancing, maybe someone likes to do yoga, maybe I like to do painting, maybe I like to work in the garden. But the machine can work in the garden, but I can do it for fun because they don't need me to work in the garden. And the vision behind School of Life is to create the facility and the conditions to train people to go through this process. So this is School of Life. So you can imagine a space, not too big, maybe that can accommodate about 50, 100, 150 people that basically arrive to this space, and they arrive not for 3 days. They arrive for 1 month. And if they like it, they can stay another month. But every time it's 1 month. And every month, all these people, there will be a group dynamics between them, and they can, like in university, that you choose the courses that you want to do. So you have different courses you can do there, like yoga, pottery, meditation, playing guitar, board games, anything that is in the fields of hobbies. Anything. And I'm not limiting myself now to tell you what's going to be there. Because we can develop, we can explore, we can do many fun things. We can do also video editing. Not because we need to edit videos, because it's fun to edit a video. So it's not about not using technology, and it's about doing things that we see as hobby. Anything that came up, whatever you did as a child, we'll do there. We're gonna have a program, a training program, and we have different topics. And the idea is that when you arrive at the beginning, you just can choose from the topics and you study. That's first month in School of Life. Second month in School of Life, so now you're an assistant in the pottery workshop. And maybe you have some talent, so maybe you share your talent. And slowly the people that stay longer will be the one who is basically contributing and supporting the new people that are arriving. And the main idea is basically to create a space, and some people call it like a modern day ashram. So that you arrive and you really spend time there, and you really get to connect with people, and you really learn life skills that normally in society we don't have the opportunity to study them. Because when we go to university, we're very focused on studying law or technology and stuff like this, but it's not so much in the fields of the hobbies. And in school, we do the same thing. And we actually don't have so many places that we train to have group dynamics. So like maybe Boy Scouts or something like this, but it's not something that really in our life. So the idea is to create this environment. The mechanism that we creating School of Life, so it's like a system that creates itself. So the more time you spend in School of Life, you're becoming more part of the contributor, facilitators. And so if in the first month you were sitting in a group dynamic and someone facilitated it, in the third month you are a helper. And in the 6 months, you are the one who is facilitating the group dynamic. So the more time people are there, they're becoming the managers, the facilitators, and so on. And then the organization can grow. So by becoming a student, you're becoming a teacher. And when you become a teacher, you can facilitate. So slowly, we can have more people in the space and more people and more people. And slowly, we have enough people that can go to another place in the world and create the second branch of School of Life. And then the third one and the fourth one. So the idea of School of Life is to create a network of schools all around the world that can provide this concept. The guests that come to Wonderland, they come for a few days. They are not part of any program. They do what they like. They enjoy some yoga, some meditation, wellness, all these things is fun. But it's not an academy. It's not like a course. And the village was supposed to solve a different problem. It's very similar to Wonderland, but it solves the community aspect of it. So it's also people coming for wellness as guests and all of those things and coming for a few days, maybe a little bit more. They'll have more activities in the village. Like we also have art and music and sports in the village. In Wonderland, it's mostly yoga and meditation and some wellness stuff. So the academy is like the next generation, which basically, because of everything I said already, I understood that we need to create a place for people to come to long term and to have a real training program, which in Wonderland and Wonder Village is kind of more like fun wellness. So it's not like a training program. And the village will, the School of Life will offer a training program. So this is like next step. And the academy itself will have teachers that live there and people who come and go. All the projects that we do, Wonderland, Wonder Village, School of Life, is actually not addressing the people of Koh Phangan. The crowd that is participating in what we do is 95% people who fly into Koh Phangan to do the workshops, to do the activities, and they go back to their life. And honestly, my agenda is not to move everyone to live in Koh Phangan. My agenda is that people will come to the university, to the academy, to study, to work, to learn, and then go back to their life and spread whatever they study in their life. So it's not like I'm trying to turn the world upside down. I'm just trying to provide people the capacity to do different things. And so if you want the next generation to have a different life, so wake up and do something to change your life. And if you'll change your life, your kids will live the new life that you have. So how do you imagine your life? The national anthem of School of Life is the song of John Lennon, Imagine. Imagine all the people. Yes, living for today. So how do you want to imagine your life? Because this is what you create for the next generation.